Hello class, good to see you. Are you ready for Module 5? Then let's get started. Let's take a look. Module 5, we're talking about self-concept, identity, ethnicity, and gender. And what I want you to do is click on this. This is your Start Here video. This does two things. First of all, it will orient you to the Module 5, what I'm looking for, and it will be the lecture for the content on Chapter 6. So let's take a look at these steps. First of all, the module. The notes are included here, as well as the module and overview for the Start Here and for the Section 1. Let's jump into Section 2, genderization. Genderization is so pervasive. After you read through the chapter on genderization, self-concept, identity, all these things, you're going to want to do some thinking, some processing, and hopefully these guiding questions will help you out with that process. Have you ever seen gentrification or a gender bias or gender training by teachers? If so, talk with or share that experience and what happened. Is there a potential for problems in that area? Have you seen genderization in the media? Where the men are strong, heroic, the women are beautiful and demure, and men and women cannot keep up with the gender stereotypes that the media has put out there. And of course, genderization in the toy selection. I'm talking about Walmart, Kmart, Target, Toys R Us, all these stores where toys are being sold to our kids. Are the boys supposed to be more masculine and aggressive with these toys? Are girls and supposed to be or encouraged to be more domestic and stay home with children? Take a look through these things and let's talk about reasons that this is A, prevalent, or B, at least present, and the pros and cons, the pluses and minuses about this. Okay, well, let's take a look at our midterm exam. The midterm, it has two parts. And what I would like you to do for Section 3 is use this as a review. If you click on this, the midterm review sheet will open up, and basically it was a summary of the content that we've had so far. The midterm is 55 multiple choice questions. I know when you click on the test, the instructions will say 75 questions. Sorry, that's incorrect. I'm still working with IT to figure out how I can change 75 to 55, but until I get that figured out, it's going to be wrong, but there will be 55 questions on there. There will be 5 short essay questions on there as well, 6 to 8 sentences for the responses. The midterm is open book. You will have 2 hours to do the midterm July 24. If you're not able to do the midterm on July 24, that's a Monday, please let me know. Otherwise, you will have any 2-hour block of time, any time that you start July 24 from morning, noon, night, all the way up to 11:59 p.m. So sometime July 24, take those 2 hours, 55 multiple choice questions, and 5 short essay type questions. These are the things that we've studied. You can go through and look through those things, and remember, it is open book. However, do not consult with your peers or use other digital resources on part 2 of your test. I want you to be reflecting on what you have learned, what you've processed in this course. And so that will be the midterm that will be open for you on July, did I say January? July, don't know the word of January, July 24, all day long, 2 hours from start to finish. Let me know if you have any questions or problems with that July 24 date. Okay, well, let's take a look next. The Blend Space Research Project completion. The due date for this is July 23. What I would like you to do is I would like you to spend the remainder of the time on this module working on your Blend Space Research Project. If you have questions about that, please let me know. The other modules have some additional information about Blend Space. I've got a sample Blend Space research project that I would like you to consider as you look at that. And all of these topics, all of these criteria for this blend space is on your Blackboard, where we're talking about, oh, we'll get there. Here we go. assignment details here in blend space research. So it'll give you the details about that and a sample as well. Okay, well, let's go on to the lecture section, and I think that's here. Yes, here we are. Let's talk about gender identity and self-concept. Take a look at the graphic that's on page 150. There's 6 different selves: who others think I am, who I think I am, who am I really, who I think others think I am, and who I think I'll become, and who I think others want me to become. So there's a lot of different things that are happening here. We're talking about the ideal self. Yeah, there's our graphic there. Let's scoot over here to a little bit. Self-concept focuses in on the hope for self, what we want to become at some point in time. I want to become a veterinarian. I want to become a fireman, an astronaut. I want to become a doctor, a dentist, a lawyer. Whatever those things are, these are the things that it's our hope for self. Okay, this is our expected selves, and of course this is from the research of Usserman and Marcus, and they found these 6 selves. Basically, I see this as 3 selves. This first one, hope for self, what you want to become, the expected self. And this is what we feel other people want us to become, or what they feel we're good at, what we feel others are kind of pushing us into. And that's our expected selves. Our feared selves, this is the self that you fear that you may become. Unemployed, nobody likes you, can't get a job no matter how hard you try. That's kind of the feared self, kind of that fear of failure self. Okay, the 4 basic dimensions of yourself by Strang: overall basic self-concept, transitory, and your social and your ideal self. So really it's a lot of the same reflection of these 3 selves. Self-esteem. As we make a T-chart, one of the activities that we would do in class, if this were a regular class, would be to make a T-chart. What does good self-esteem look like in adolescence, and what does low self-esteem look like? So we're looking at good self-esteem and what low self-esteem. So you're looking at your students and you're seeing which one of these students have good self-esteem and which one have low self-esteem. All right, well, probably you've got their listed or in your thoughts. You're encouraged to have a positive outlook on yourself. If you've got good self-esteem, then you've got good mental health. You're encouraged to be popular. You have that. If you've got good self-esteem, it's more likely that you're successful more academically, socially, your self-concept, and maybe your concept of others is also improved. However, if you are not having a good self-concept, you may have a poor social adjustment. You're not noticed or picked out as a leader. You don't participate in clubs and social events. Often they don't stand up for their own rights and experience a good deal of strain. Maybe there's even delinquency. And so we can see these things in our students, and it's simply because it's simply a factor of self-esteem. So we want to be careful of our students' self-esteem. Now, we don't want to be praising them for every time that they, put one step in front of the other, but we want to do what we can to see that our students have a positive self-esteem, because that will help facilitate these successes in the other areas. And I'll let you look through these things here. We've kind of summarized that well enough. All right, factors that affect self-esteem. I thought this was interesting, and it was on page 157. Take a look at figure 6-2. We're looking at desiring to be close to one's parents or having a low socioeconomic status. See, some of these things are bringing us up. Some of these things are bringing us down. Close to the parents, high vocational aspirations, having authoritative parents can be a good thing, because parents that are authoritative and yet want their children to be successful are going to help, and they're going to encourage, and they're going to want to facilitate their children to be successful. And I'll let you look up at the things that are going to increase or decrease your self-confidence and your self-concept. Okay, Erickson had 7 issues with identity, and I think these were important. Temporal perspective versus time confusion. And basically, we're saying, what are the things, where am I at, where do I need to be, and what are the steps that I need to take to get there? Self-certainty versus self-consciousness, role experimentation versus role fixation, apprenticeship versus work paralysis, sexual polarization versus bisexual confusion, and there's a whole discussions we can have there. Leadership and followership and authority and confusion, ideological commitment and confusion values. So as we look at these ideas of Erickson, we may or may not agree with them, but these are the researches that he has found. Okay, identity as a process. We know that adolescents, it takes time for them to process who they are and what they want to do. And so we take a look at interpersonal and intrapersonal. So interpersonal is who we think we are, and intrapersonal is who we think others think we are. It's that social dynamic. Okay, so let's continue on there. Okay. Yeah, this was kind of interesting. Take a look at your textbook, figure 6-3, page 164. If we're looking at the ethnic culture and the American culture, if we're taking a look at these 2 different cultures, they're very, very different. And if you've been overseas or if you traveled out of the country, you know the cultures are going to be very different. And so students that are coming into our culture, whether that be from another country or African American, sometimes we don't see that these cultures are going to cross over very much at all. So here we have the ethnic culture, and the X, the student, has just simply assimilated into the American culture. There's no real change. It's just they've adopted American culture, and they've kind of left their own culture behind, and that's a shame because we've lost something in the process. Fused is, of course, perfect. It's wonderful. But there's also the idea of a blended culture, which is very valuable. Alternating bicultural, so there is some crossover, but they'll spend time in one culture and then time in the other culture. Separated, meaning they're still staying in their own culture. They're not at all integrating into the American culture. And marginal, where you're kind of dropped out of either culture. That's kind of interesting. Okay, let's take a look at sex versus gender. Of course, sex is just the plumbing, male and female. Gender is like a gentrification. How do these different, how does society, how do your friends, how do your teachers reflect on your sexual identity? And that is part of a genderization. Meaning it's a cultural associations and expectations along with one's sex. So if you're a male, you're participating in one expectation and cultural association. You're female, and you're going into another association. So women and pregnancy, males, and muscle mass. So that's one way of looking at that. Okay, cognitive developmental theories. Gender identification as its beginning and gender associations at birth. So yes, we have some ideas at birth. Boys are supposed to act this way. Girls are supposed to act this way. Is this right? Is this good? Not always, and we have to be careful about that. Learning to be a boy or a girl. This is gender schema. The boys learn that they're rewarded for this. Girls learn that they're rewarded for that, either playing with toys or this and that. And a lot of times parents genderify their children as well. And have we been engendered? Yes, I think so. I think society, I think parents, things have always worked in our benefit or maybe not for our benefit. So we have to be careful as teachers. So sure, gender roles, learn sex type behavior through combination of reward, punishment, direct instruction, and modeling. Boys are encouraged to be more assertive in the classroom. Girls are maybe encouraged to not like math or science, which I think is a real shame. As a math and science teacher, I purposefully encourage girls to participate in math and science because statistically, just as smart as boys. Parents, peers, stereotypes, All these things play a part in genderification. If you go through the store, we talked about this in the modules that you're going to reflect on. If you go through the store, my son really wouldn't go into the pink aisles at all. Daddy, why are you going there? Are you looking for toys for sister? Why would you ever do that? And you can see the blue aisles as well. It's very genderified where the toys are at. So take a look at those things and be thinking, is this positive? Is this negative? Is this something that we need to be concerned about? All right, gender intensification hypothesis. Basically, this is saying that when let's say a girl reaches puberty, they may put on extra makeup to be extra feminine. The boy may put on, a thicker T-shirt to make him look more muscular. That's gender intensification. We recognize those gender symbols, and so those children, those adolescents embrace those gender symbols. Maybe too far to one extreme or another. So this can be potentially limiting to kids and can have them acting in some odd ways. So be thinking about that. Read through this chapter. There's tons of stuff that's happening here, and you've probably seen a lot of it, and I would like you to reflect on that as you look at module number 5 here in this section right here, your guiding questions. So talk to me about gender roles in the media. Talk with me about genderification in stores. Talk to me about these things. Let me know what your thoughts are, because this is really a fun part of the class that I enjoy, and I know it's hard when it's just you and I, but please know that I read every response that you give, and I like to give responses back. So I look forward to your responses, and if you have any questions, give me a call, 864-503-5570, or email gbradley@uscupstate.edu. I look forward to seeing you, talking with you, and looking at your work soon. Have a great day.